Hi everyone! So we have an issue of Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine in here, and this is a 273, and we have a lovely Christmas themed bundle by Crafter's Companion with this one. So first I'll show you what we get when we purchase this issue of the magazine. So we have an embossing folder, and you can see the nativity scene in there with the lovely stars and palm trees, the donkey and the camel. And then we have the little scene in the manger in there as well. We have a 6-piece die set to accompany it, which cut out some of these smaller elements in here. And then we have a whole bundle of sentiments, which I'm going to read out to you now. O Holy Night, believe in the miracle of Christmas, comfort and joy. Be merry and shine bright. Season's greetings. The light of heaven became the light of the world. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. This is French that says Happy Christmas or Joyful Christmas, I believe. And then a peace on earth and love was born in a manger. So it is a lovely bundle. If you like embossing folders and if you like nativity scene kind of crafting for Christmas, this really is a lovely set. And now I'm going to show you inspiration from the magazine, because as always the magazine is jam-packed with some inspiration on how to use the goodies that come with the magazine, as well as some other goodies as well. I will be focusing on this set. So you can see one on the front in here. We'll see that inside the magazine. And then there's a little tease, one of my cards there. So let's see. Okay, so first up we have Mary, who made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards using the set, and she was very much focusing on the golden theme, which I absolutely love for this set. They look absolutely stunning. Really nice cards, and you can see all different shapes and all different folds of cards in here. There's an easel card as well. Okay, so next up we have Sarah, who see, I don't recognize some of these things, so I assume that she had used the downloads as well. I didn't have these with my commission, but because I don't recognize these, I assume that that's what she'd used. So there's another lovely inspiration of some makes from Sarah. We have this with the embossing folder. These are the dies that came with the kit. I do believe this could be probably the downloads. And then, so we have a tag, we have a gift bag as well, and card front. So this one is a card again. So Sarah made a mixture of cards and gifting ideas. So there's another lovely inspiration. Next we have my 6 cards. I just very quickly show you these because I have a video that I recorded. I'm going to attach to this one so you can see them in more detail. So again, I used the embossing folder, the dies and the stamps to create my 6 cards. And then we have the cover card. This is the one that you can see in the front of the magazine. It was made by Nikki, who is the editor for the Creative Stamping magazine. It's a really lovely, colorful card. It sets off that scene just absolutely beautifully. So yeah, this is your inspiration for these makes. For the next issue, I always like to show, you get a lovely stamp and die set by Chloe's Creative Cards. How pretty is that? Now I know when I'm sharing this issue is already out, so you can purchase this issue with this lovely set of goodies with it. And now I am going to attach the video that I recorded showcasing my 6 cards. I really hope you enjoy the little walkthrough, and I hope to see you back soon. First one I made is this art-shaped card. Just stands up nicely. And this is layered. There's another white layer on top of the card base, which I edged with glitter. Then these next 2 layers I popped on foam pads. So for the slightly larger one I added some purple, and this is all alcohol markers I used to color these in. And for this main panel in here, I cut out the arch first, then I used the embossing folder to emboss this detail, and I used my alcohol markers to color the scene in. I had to work with a color scheme, and I think it turned out absolutely fantastic. And then I went over with some dry clear glue and glitter and added it to all the stars and the rays. And then to the top of every single element in there, as if the star is shining and lighting them up from above. I think it's absolutely beautiful. For the sentiment, I went with Oh Holy Night, which I stamped with the pink ink, heat embossed with clear embossing powder, and just fussy cut trained it, popped it on a foam pad. And this is card number 1 ready. I think it turned out pretty. Second card is this gorgeous bauble card. So this one is, let me see, I think it's a 6x6 inch. Yeah, it's a 6x6 inch top folding card base. And I used the holographic layer in there, holographic silver mirror card. And then I created this blue panel with distress oxidings, a distress spritz spray, some water splatters, and also some white acrylic ink splatter. I think it gives that wintry feel. I really love how that turned out. So for my baubles, I die cut just circles, slightly larger one from holographic to each of these baubles, and each of these baubles are slightly different in size. I ink blended distress oxide inks on it, 2 on each, so the darker one all around the edge, the lighter one in the middle. I embossed a panel of white card, and then I cut around the stable and the star, the donkey and the tree. And I used the dies to cut out all those details in there. And I heat embossed them using a sparkling white embossing powder before gluing it on top of the baubles. I'm not sure if you can pick up on all that sparkle, but I will leave some close-ups at the very end of this video. For the top portion, the bows, I used an older die set which I have from a previous issue of Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine. I finished them off with some rhinestones. Oh, and I also added some blue metallic thread. I'm not sure if you can pick that up, as if the baubles are kind of hanging from the top of my card, not just floating in there. And then I stamped my sentiment, popped it on foam pads after cutting them out. And this finishes the card, and I think this one is my favorite of the 6. I don't know, I just love that contrast of the blue in the background. I really enjoyed making this one. For card number 3, I made a 10-fold card on blue card base, and this one is a 5x5 inch, I believe. Yes, 5x5 inch card. Folds flat into an envelope. And I have a white and a pink layer glued straight onto the card base. Then these two are popped up on foam. So the gold one in there, I just used plain white cardstock, and I heat embossed the edges with gold embossing powder. And for this main panel, I ink blended the yellows and the oranges all over that. I think it is 4.5 by 4.5 inch of cardstock. And I went with the lightest shades in the middle and radiating out all towards the edges, leaving it the darker colors all on the edges. And then I used some yellow distress spritz to spray all over this panel, and it left it lovely and sparkly again. I will leave some close-ups at the end of this video. And I used some white acrylic splatters on it before embossing. Now to emboss this, I'm going to show you with the embossing folder. Once I placed my card inside the embossing folder, I only added this top cutting mat up until halfway on that star. I ran it through my die cutting machine. I turned the cardstock inside the embossing folder 90 degrees, and it was very easy to line up with this star. And then I ran it through again just to about halfway, and that gave me that full radiating star look in there. I thought it was pretty clever. I really loved that technique. So I embossed and cut out another white star, which I heat embossed then with the gold embossing powder, the same as I have on the layer, and the same as I used for the sentiment, which says the light of heaven became the light of the world. I thought it was very fitting for this card. I glued them in place, and just to bring my purple color into the card a bit, I added these lovely sparkly rhinestones. I really think it looks fantastic. So this was card number 3. Card number 4, I wanted to create a nighttime scene. I think this gives sunset kind of vibes, and I really love these colors for this card especially. So I have an oval topper on just a 2.5 by 5 inch card base. So I basically went with a 5 by 5 inch card and I folded it in half, just like so. And this created my card base, and then I just glued the topper on it, which is a slightly larger oval, which I used wilted violet, the same as on this panel in here. And then I ink blended wilted violet, picked raspberry, spice, marmalade and mustard seed all over that oval. I added some black ink splatters, acrylic ink splatters, embossed the folder on black cardstock, and then I cut around the stable and the trays, and I die cut these elements using the little dies that came with the set. And then I heat embossed everything. Although it was a black card already, I could have just heat embossed with clear gloss embossing powder, but I decided to go with the black embossing powder. I think it's just made it even more striking. I glued them on that oval. I cut away any excess of the trays and I layered this on the larger oval then, which then I glued onto the card base. I cut out one of the holographic stars that came with the set, and these little stars are from a little glitter pot that I have, which I absolutely love using, and this is called the Starfall, and this is jam-packed with lovely holographic stars. So I just took some of those little ones out and I scattered them all over the card. Stamped with orange and heat embossed with clear embossing powder the sentiment, comfort and joy. I popped it on foam pads and I added it to the card, and then I just finished off with some blue rhinestones to bring the blue into this card a bit too. And I think it's pretty. I really love the striking look of the black against those colors in the sunset. So this was card number 4. For card number 5, so I was asked to have some of the cards made as a last minute make. So this is my take on a last minute make. This came together pretty quickly. So I took a piece of vellum measuring 4 by 6 inches and I ink blended the yellow, orange, pink and the purple, radiating out from the star again. And it was very easy to gauge it because once I placed my vellum on top of the embossing folder, I could see where exactly I needed to add the yellow, and then I radiated the colors out from there. And then I used the Versamark white pigmenting with a brayer to add that white coating to it, which I thought added such a lovely interest. I really loved how it turned out. So my idea was that it will only touch the raised areas, but it didn't. It really went all over that panel and then left all around that darker areas, all around the details. I hope you can pick up on that. It looks pretty cool. It's an unexpected effect, but I really loved it, so I decided to use it. And I covered this then in a double-sided adhesive sheet, and I have a slightly larger panel in there which I edged with glitter. And the glitter that I used is the Icebreaker from Chloe's Creative Cards, and it's that gorgeous blue. And then I just adhered this panel to that one and that onto a card base, which is a 5 by 7 inch card base. For my sentiment, I stamped a Peace on Earth, and I'm just looking, no, I didn't heat emboss this, I just stamped it, cut it out with an oval and added some rhinestones which match the color of that blue glitter. And this is a lovely last minute make, and I think it turned out very pretty. I love these colors, but obviously you can use more festive colors to create something like this if you wish. No, sorry guys, I think I lied to you because this one is not a 5 by 7, so this is a 4.5 by 6.5 inch card, and the next one is a 5 by 7, but I left it a top folding one. Okay, so this is the 5 by 7 inch card. Sorry about that. So I really love this technique. So what I did, I took a piece of copy paper, just a plain scrap copy paper of I had it 5 by 7 inches, and then later on I cut it down to size. So it was a 5 by 7 inch copy paper covered in double-sided sticky sheet, and I've cut orange, pink, blue and yellow strips at an angle, lots of them, just using my guillotine, just turning it, and I wasn't measuring, so they all are different sizes. I like the randomness of this, and then I started to stick them onto that double-sided adhesive sheet. Once it was all covered, I cut away any excess that was overhanging, and I embossed it using the embossing folder. Then I took my Wow embossing pen, which is this one in here. One of my favorite tools lately in the craft room, honestly. It's a must-have if you like heat embossing. So it has this bullet tip, so it is very easy to go around the fine details. So I went all around all the images and I heat embossed them, then using the polished gold embossing powder, which left me with that super gorgeous shine. I've cut out Season's Greetings. No, I stamped and heat embossed again Season's Greetings onto the same purple card as I have in the background there, which is 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. So then I cut this panel down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I just glued everything flat, and I just popped the sentiment on foam pads then, and that finishes the card. I guess you could say this is a last minute make too. I mean, it took me a minute to go around everything with the embossing powder, or the embossing pen and the powder. I did it in batches, so first I done the top half, and then I did one part and the stable, and then the other palm tree. So it didn't take me all that long, and I absolutely love the results. What do you think, guys? I love how it slits into the embossing powder too at every join of those papers. It's just such a cool effect. I never done anything like this, so I was pretty chuffed when this one came together the way it did. So I'm going to very quickly show you card number 6, number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2, and card number 1. I would love to know which one is your favorite. Who knew you could use an embossing folder in so many different ways to create completely different looks? I am really happy with this set. I think these two are my favorites, definitely. I love these two, but then again, I love the striking in there, and I love the idea of this. It's very hard for me to pick, but I am biased, so I would love to hear your thoughts. Which one is your favorite out of the 6? I hope to see you back soon, and stay tuned because now I'm going to show you some close-up images as well. Thank you. Bye.